it kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go
No,
lefty.
we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion into the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is forget him, Michael Scaccia's in the house tonight. What's up, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Great. Also,
the lab is active right now.
it is. Lab is.
If everyone can see.
Lab has got the beakers and the what's the other thing?
It's Thursday? I didn't know what was going on. I thought you guys were just here to get your stuff drilled.
It's Wednesday, Jimmy.
So yes, with us is the assistant to the host, finally, Anthony Scaccia. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, it's great to be here for a guest for the 13th week in a row.
And
I'm really excited to get started today, and
Whoa,
stop cutting me off.
I'm trying. You just stop and pause and go and pause and go and pause.
That's my cadence. I think William Shakespeare or circadian rhythm. I think that was called.
I thought we were a bowling channel. When did we get into poetry? Weren't we a bowling channel? I don't know.
That's what you're learning about, Michael? You learning about poetry right now?
I haven't learned about poetry yet.
Circadian rhythm. Look it up.
With us, as always, is producer Austin at the helm, taking control of things. What's going on, Austin?
Just being a button pusher.
Lost my cap already.
Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. And if you can't catch us on YouTube, you can always download and listen on your favorite podcast service. While you're doing that, give us a 5-star review, guys. And don't forget to check out the Etsy shop where you can get our new t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all that good stuff. Tonight, we will be talking about the USBC's decision to release all of the oil patterns for the U.S. Open.
What?
Ahead of the schedule. And we'll get into why that happened.
Does that mean the OCs or we get to...
We're also going to talk about some drilling layouts.
Some layouts?
Yep.
Talk about layouts?
Yep. Our buddy Tom, he asked us about
Tom Scamboloni.
That's right. He asked us about drilling angles, and specifically the other night he was asking me, he had like a 70 by 30 or something in 4.5 or 4 inch or pin. And he's like, it's supposed to skid flip, but I'm not sure if it's working right. And we kind of talked a little bit more. So we'll get into drilling angles and layouts and buffer if you want to talk about buffer stuff. But we'll talk about that
Rotation,
a little
tilt,
bit later.
Rev rate, ball speed.
All important.
Rabbit hole.
With that being said, how was your guys' week this week?
Michael, I think we should talk about our performance this weekend.
Go for it. You had a adult junior tournament at Town?
Boulevard.
Oh, Boulevard.
We were at,
Is there another one at Town?
Yeah,
there was.
Oh, lots of adult junior tournaments going on.
It's a great time for it. Me and Michael decided to bowl. We wanted home field advantage, so we decided to bowl the Boulevard one. It was Baker's 9-pin no tap, so I brought my spare ball for no reason. But I mean, hey,
You didn't leave any buckets this time?
no, I left no buckets. I left one. I think. If Michael calculated it correctly, I think we really missed once. I only missed once.
Wow.
Michael bowled exceptional. We averaged. What did we average?
268.21. I made those last
268.
two numbers up.
Okay.
Just 268.
It
I
was
think.
269.
And
I
we
thought.
came in second.
And we came second.
Wow. Well, that's what you get with no tap, man. You failed to mention when you told us that in the text message, by the way, you failed to mention that it was no tap. So you're like, yeah, we shot 250, 260, da-da-da-da. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. And then
How do you know it was no tap?
he just said it.
You said it too.
Or
I
you
didn't
said
hear
it. Somebody said
I
it.
don't
One,
remember.
either one of
You
one of
said
you
it.
said no tap.
Are you sure?
Adult junior no
I
tap.
thought we were throwing at all 10.
Yeah, you can throw it all 10, but if you leave it a stick,
Yeah.
it's an X.
Actually, Michael and I bowled great. I used the hazmat pin down. Michael used a plethora of bowling balls. What did you go through, Michael?
I first started off with a hustle, wine, and I put
Oh yeah, you rolled it around the parking lot before I got there. The ball hooked at his toes.
I hooked on my toes. I think I
360,
put
180.
1,000 on it.
Oh, that's it?
No,
Wow.
but this was like he must have been rubbing it for hours.
2 minutes.
Uh,
And then you went from that.
thanks,
to,
Jessica. Thank you. I appreciate the
awesome.
comment on the necklace.
You went from a hustle to
A Zen.
a Zen.
And then
The
start-
Zen was shiny, thank God.
I know I have a shiny ball. Who knew?
That was the only shiny ball you had with you. We actually bowled pretty good, and we got 2 slices of pizza after. That's what we were looking forward to as a team. I had no idea what it cost. I had no idea what it was. I just knew we were bowling together. And second place finish, Michael got $75 in scholarship money. So if you don't go to college, I'll take my $75.
Sorry.
Somebody does with you. But yeah, so it was good. We had a good
Well
time.
done, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
Best part about it, definitely the food.
Food was number 1. That's what we were there for.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Boulevard Bowl food? Come on.
I ate
Let's
after
go.
that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Awesome. What do you have going on this week?
Work.
Every week.
No, I bowled Monday night. I bowled pretty good. I think I had 7-0 for 3. Did something different, by the way.
2
on the
strikes?
house shot over there.
They did, not you.
No, I did.
Oh,
something
okay.
Different. I was the past couple of weeks. I've been getting a lot of wet dry, so I forced the issue this week and just killed the break point with my GB2. And then the second game, I moved all the way left and just threw the GB4 hybrid to the dry spot.
That is such a good ball.
I love my GB4 hybrid.
You mean like Kyle's GB4 hybrid?
My 14-pounder.
Thanks, Kyle.
I did have 3 bills on Tuesday.
3 what?
3 bills.
I got a 300 game?
And we just had 3 bills from Lefty, one of the Kent brothers out there. I can't tell which one it is. He only throws the Beast from 1942.
Is that Stephanie's Beast?
No, but we just had 3 bills. Matt Kent. Okay. Yep,
Nice.
Matt Kent. Nice guy.
Nice.
Congrats. That's our
Well
first
done.
winner on the show, maybe?
I think we've had one.
Oh, Dave's had one.
Yeah.
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 I think that was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah. it
Pretty
was.
rare occurrence. It's gotta happen right behind us.
Yeah, rare occurrence. I did have 3 bills myself.
Nice. Congratulations.
That means 300.
Would you finish the rest of the night?
I think I had 240, 211, 300.
So it was Tuesday night, not Thursday night.
It was today's Thursday.
Yeah, but a week ago was Thursday too. Anyway, you said
What?
Thursday.
Oh, you count Thursday in?
No, you said Thursday.
Did I say Thursday?
I don't know.
Play it back. Play
I
the
really
tape
don't
back.
remember.
Rewind.
Tuesday night,
Anyway.
I shot 3 bills Tuesday with my Black Widow 2.0 hybrid.
Let's keep this moving before people fall asleep.
How could they fall asleep? Me and Mikey are like
Lighten
peanut
it up
butter
tonight.
and jelly.
Okay.
Peanut butter
Wow.
jelly time.
But we did have a good practice session last night.
We did. What'd you work on, Kyle? What did we do for you, Kyle?
Well, we got a couple new rocks. One was I already had was a GB4, and that one it's so stupid how good that ball rolls. But we also put out a lower volume pattern to try to mimic some head friction, which we see in basically everywhere else other than here. Even when they have pro lane, except for out in Vegas, it seems pretty slick out there. But anyway, yeah. So we put out a low volume pattern, and then we drilled up a exotic gem.
I love that ball.
75 by 60,
4.5 by 35.
35. Yes, thank you.
Wow.
To try to
wall
give
to
it
your
some,
left.
try to give it some whip and nay.
Whip.
And it does whip. I was maybe hoping for a little bit more reaction from the right, but maybe we can.
Gets a little more forward. It gets a little too
Yeah.
forward too quick for you down lane from
But-
what you were experiencing. But it really
Yeah.
wasn't that bad. It just, I don't know.
But
It
the other
really
thing, we
wasn't
were
that bad.
using a low volume pattern and
That's the other thing. It was no
curve,
bomb.
so it was like slowing down a lot.
And we laid 24 mils out, like you said.
Right.
So it's a little stickier of no oil. And with 24 mils, the fronts really did burn up. So seeing it get
It was
through,
like 3 shots and you had to move.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
it was good though to see your ball get down lane and still corner pretty well.
Yeah.
Because that means it should be a little bit better. Hopefully.
But if I got to the right part of the lane, it worked
Sure.
really good.
your
Just-
GB4 was better, but
yeah,
it
it read a
was,
lot sooner.
it read, but it never came offline until later down lane, which was
Exactly.
nice.
Yep.
So it never really missed the mid lane that much,
Mhm.
but it doesn't overreact off the mid lane. So
Yeah.
that's 50. That's 5.5 by 30, I think.
Yes. Yes, that's about right.
Kyle's tilt and rotation are not friendly.
Low tilt.
Actually, no, you're actually better now. I forgot.
I am better. I did increase it a little bit.
You
but
increased it.
Still pretty low compared to most people.
No, you're right around. You're actually just a step below me. I'm a step outside of the perfect range in terms of more tilt. You're actually right at the. You're right where I am. But my rotation, I think my rotation is less than yours.
I don't know.
I think you're 55 degrees, and it's either you're 55 or I'm 55, and one of us is 45.
I'm not sure.
I don't really care too much.
As long as it strikes, that's all that matters.
Purple hammer.
Mikey.
Yeah.
How'd Saturday mornings go?
I had 665,
For which shift?
the PM shift.
What'd you get the AM shift? Come on, don't leave out the bad stuff.
661.
Oh, both are good.
Michael bowls both shifts.
Yeah, he double shifts on
And then I
Saturdays.
bowl on Sundays.
Kid's nuts, dude.
9 games
Yeah.
weekends.
So Michael bowls AM, PM, and then this Sunday he bowled Travel League at Boulevard, Adult Child at Boulevard.
Wow, how'd you do in travel?
Which
Which wasn't really travel.
I wasn't traveling.
Yeah, you didn't travel anywhere.
Good. I mean,
I think you had 660, right?
I did have 660. Yeah.
Wow, 660, 660, 660.
What'd you have today though?
Right on target.
560.
580. I had.
580. Okay.
580 is good, especially when you go where
He
was
was at Green Island today.
Yeah.
Green Island.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, good bowling this week. Good bowling.
Appreciate it.
You gonna say that to me or?
No,
Okay.
no, I couldn't care less
Good
about
bowling,
your 300. As the meme says, was that on a sport chat?
No,
That's
I don't. I only shoot them when they really count, Kyle.
That's right,
true.
on a challenge shot. Is
Not
that
a
challenge or
challenge.
short, or challenge or sport in
It was challenge.
Massachusetts?
It was like
Okay.
5-1.
All right,
No, it was 4-1. I think this year.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
close.
matter. It was at least it was a little bit more challenging.
Did they release
Challenge.
the pattern?
They did.
They did.
For Massachusetts.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Yep. Speaking of releasing the pattern, let's get right into it. Let's jump
go.
into it.
Perfect.
The USBC, nice segue, Michael. The USBC has announced the patterns for not just the US Open, but also the Team USA trials. So Jeff Riggles of 11th Frame got this article out because the people that are bowling the US Open got an email. So it wasn't like widely announced, but the people that are bowling the US Open got an email stating that the pattern's being released. And basically, you know, when that came out, we were all hoping like, oh, maybe they'll release the pattern for the OCs. But turns out the reason why they're releasing the pattern is really just because Rob Gottschall, who is the short duration tournament director, is leaving the USBC and going to a ball manufacturer for his new career. And they didn't want, which I think is a kind of a smart move on their part. They didn't want to have any reason.
Too much interference.
Right. They didn't want to have any reason that they would be accused of sharing the pattern with certain people, like if Rob shared it with whoever he's working for now. So they just got ahead of that and just announced the patterns. What I'm really looking forward to seeing is what the scores are going to be like out there, because
They look dumb.
well, the same exact patterns as last year.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just think it's a joke.
OCs.
Yeah. No, for the US Open.
They've got the middle finger pattern again.
Yeah.
43 feet,
They
43
have the
feet.
same pattern.
Exact same patterns as last year.
Yeah, middle finger pattern, 39 flat, and
They're
then
gonna have the double hook one.
49 flat. too.
49 flat. I mean, it's
And the fourth pattern, once you make it to match play, is a speed bump.
I
Yeah.
didn't
Kinda
get that
I've
far.
won that
Hammerhead.
pattern.
Oh, the eye pattern. I love that type of pattern because
I've
my
won
ball
that
just
pattern.
rolls right up into it.
But so anyway,
I don't particularly like these. Are we gonna get into
the
this?
patterns. You can talk about the patterns if you want.
I just think I don't know. But the problem is when you get into patterns that are really low ratio like this, which I don't
Literally
mi-
1-to-1.
yeah, which they all are 1.25, 1-to-1, and the other one's 1.6. So they're all 1-to-1. I just feel as if, now this is my opinion, and I'm not an end-all be-all by any means, but when you get into a lower ratio pattern, you start to show topography more. And I guess it's over a certain amount of time, so it's not as big as of a deal because everybody's going to have 6 games on this for 3 days.
Everybody basically hits the same lanes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Well, I just don't feel as if, I mean, hopefully they have a little bit of playroom and they're playable. I mean, I think it's just silly to do the 1-to-1 stuff because then you end up winding up hitting 2 bad pairs in a set and you're only going to shoot 180, 200 really. I mean, maybe the scores will be higher. I mean, they're really good players, but you hit a really bad 3 pairs or the guys transition really funky on a pair. I mean, you're SOL already. There's no shape to the pattern. There's nothing to help the player. You're basically saying, well, whoever can keep it close to the head pin the best is going to be fine. So might as well just bring plastic.
Maybe, but I mean, the whole point of the U.S. Open is to have the cream rise to the top, as you always say, right? So
Sure. I mean,
the guys who are most accurate, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be super high rev rates or anything like that, but the guys who are most accurate are going to be the most successful, I would say.
I can agree with that as long as they don't hit that funky pair where they
Right.
get a big hang spot down lane or if they get a big hook spot in the middle. I mean, I think you get a little too much, regardless of the tournament. It seems as if in the PBA events, at least, those guys are always going to rise to the top because one, they have better resources, more opportunities to
Right.
drill bowling balls. It's not even the same game as the other guys who are trying to bowl are playing. So I don't understand. I guess I get it because you want them to rise to the top, but either way, they're going to rise to the top anyways. And if they didn't, it's their fault. I mean, they're doing it for a living. You shouldn't be putting. I just don't think the 1-to-1 is really a fair shake for anybody.
It's the epitome of fair. It's a flat piece of paper out there.
Sure. I guess it's fair in your terms. In my terms, looking at all the factors where topography plays a difference. If you're sponsored, if you have a ball rep, if you're able to drill this ball, that ball. In that point,
like we've
it
talked
doesn't
about
become
before, there should
Not
not be
fair.
ball reps at a USBC tournament. When you have an open tournament where you have
Yeah.
players that are not repped,
Yeah.
in my personal opinion,
Yeah.
you should not have ball reps on
Yeah,
site there.
I can agree with that, and I think the Open part of the name, the Masters. If you want to change the Masters and the Open and flip it around a little bit, fine, so be it. But the Open should be for everybody. I don't understand the qualifying.
Well,
so
I did look it up today. The qualifying.
I see it's sold out. I think I said the same thing last year. Maybe I didn't, but the 1-to-1 ratios are silly to me. Like I saw a tournament. We know Greg Tack is up from around here. Really nice guy, extremely good tournament director. He does some lanes too. But I saw his tournament for the Grinch Classic, and it's like he only oiled the left side of the lane on the left lane, and the right side of the lane they only oiled. It was like 10 to the gutter on each side. It was something weird.
Yeah.
And these patterns remind me of those where the cut to make money was 175. Now, I'm all for them being difficult. But when you get to that level where you can, what's the point of bringing a reactive ball to these? Seriously, scuff your ball to 360 and throw missiles at the head pin.
I don't know that that's ever been successful, though. I mean, the guys tend to wear it in, at least for the righties, they'll wear it in, and then they start to move left.
So the lefties are SOL then.
I don't know how many lefties have won the U.S. Open.
I don't know. I don't particularly care. I'm just saying, now you catch a bad pair for the lefties, and now the righties get to blow it open.
Yeah.
Really?
Heck yeah.
I mean, I guess that's okay.
Ryan Simonelli won.
Did Parker Bowman?
Simonelli won. That's
sure
fine.
He's won one of them way back.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not fighting again. I'm just saying, like, my opinion on it is it's silly to put those out. I think they're silly.
I think it tests guys' skills.
It doesn't test crap.
Why?
It doesn't test anything.
It tests how accurate you are. It tests how well you're reading the lanes for transition.
Transition.
I know you don't know what transition is. I'm just saying
transition's irrelevant if you catch a bad pair.
You could, but you can always catch a bad pair anywhere.
You hit
Yeah, but if
yesterday?
I did hit yesterday. And that was hard. That wasn't a bad pair by topography. How do I know that?
Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you're talking about, topography, that's a whole different story. But everybody's going to hit the same lanes. They do the scattered skip where everyone.
Did you hit every pair in the house during the Masters? No.
Pretty darn close, but
and there was specific pairs that people were complaining about. So you do a 3-day tournament with that, and that becomes an issue.
Yeah, but you don't hit the same lanes twice.
Sure, but still, I'm shooting 200. All of a sudden, I shoot 130, and all I'm going to do is shoot 200. I'm not going to go plus because they're 1-to-1, and now you basically took my opportunity away. I think they have to be hard. That's fine. You can make them hard and still give a body of a pattern. Yes, they are going to transition. The cream will always rise to the top, as you say. So why aren't we creating the shape of a pattern so people can actually play them? So I don't watch freaking people throw missiles at the head pin after a while.
If you're worried about topography, what about getting the topography report like they do? They give it to everybody.
I didn't get it at the Masters.
It was on the website. Just because you didn't get a booklet.
I should have got a booklet. Do I think that's... I mean, sure, you can see the topography, but even if you see it on paper, that's like So what? It could play completely different when you get there. Oh,
Yeah.
there's going to be a hang spot at 12, and then your ball checks at 12 because they checked the topography 6 months ago,
Yeah.
and the summer's
Or
different than the
however
winter.
long ago, yeah.
It could have been like South
Yeah.
Points hasn't been done in 3 years, it says, or
At-
something like
at
that.
least, yeah.
So now you're going to give out false information and give me even higher of a disadvantage because
Right,
now the
'cause you
ball
don't-
rep guys are going to be like, this is from 2003. This guy's playing the shim here, over here. Looks like there's a big hood spot on 23. Hey, the bad pairs in this building are 35, 36. The average Joe don't get that.
Right.
So now you're giving them an almost impossible pattern.
Again,
Now,
well,
maybe they're not.
again, we're talking about the ball reps now, but and
Well,
I
we're getting
agree.
into everything now.
Well, no, I'm saying I agree that the ball reps should not be helping people, but
The patterns are
anyway.
silly. I will leave it at that. The guy who made them, he's the guy who made the Masters pattern, which was also silly.
Now, what about the release of the pattern? That's what we're really talking about.
Oh, we're just worried about the release of the pattern.
No, well, you can talk about whatever you want, but
Well, Gotcha left, right? Gotcha left.
right. So that was the reason. But could this be a preemptive thing that I don't know that they're actually going to do it, but like for releasing things for the Masters before you go, OCs before you go?
There's a few things that what do you think, Michael?
I do not like when they release it early.
Oh, really?
I don't.
I used to be on that page. How many bowling balls have you shipped?
I'm not sure. No way.
Now let me ask you a question, Kyle. Why are you flipping your script?
What do you mean?
You used
I
to
just
be
said
on
that. I just said it. I said the reason why. Because when you go to Vegas, especially when we're going across country, we have to bring a certain set of balls, right?
Mhm.
So if we don't know what the pattern is going to be, especially let's say they make it short one year, and
like Reno.
yeah, but that wasn't short. The team pattern was not
Not the team pattern, but I'm
36
saying
feet,
to prepare for
37
doubles and
feet.
singles.
right? Well, yeah, for a prime example, doubles and singles, right? People probably would have brought some different equipment had they known that the volume of the
using-
pattern was 24 mils.
And they're using 40 mic pump or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're not using a 50 mic pump.
and
Yeah.
it's a 25-year-old lane surface.
Well, do you think it's now
20-year-old, whatever it is.
Now let me ask you a question. Do we have to put all the emails in for all the players that go with us to nationals? Or is the emails already in the USB-C for you? We have the email. So
What email are you talking about?
So when we register the players,
Yeah.
I'm not going off topic, I promise. When we register them on the website, does their email and stuff come up?
No.
Okay. So
But they all do get notifications that they've been registered for a team.
correct. So they have
So
the email
if
then.
they put their email
Correctly.
with their sanction number,
Right.
they will get a notification.
So my question is now, why isn't the USB-C using that as a guide to send people the pattern? So as we start to get our teams ready, we form our team and we lock our team in. Let's say we locked our team in today. Well, the patterns are released January 1st, let's say, for the OCs or for the US Open or for whatever it is.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get your information in, boom, an email goes to your phone and that's what it is. And now it's like, hey, there's a reason to pre-register. Now, of course, it'll circulate the internet, but maybe the topography report, you get a topography report, or you get a lane chart report, or a lot of other things that go with it. Why not put the incentive out there? I'm gonna bowl the US Open. Boom, I registered for the US Open. The age of the lane surface is there. The topography is on there. The lane patterns are there. What oil they're going to use. This oil schedule. The finer details. Why can't those be in that? And instead of just, we're going to release the pattern. Yeah, congratulations. Why not make it a
package deal?
A package deal. Get these guys to sign up early. Get these people to commit. And be like, listen, once you fill up your spot, I mean, obviously it's going to circulate, which sucks, but you can have your own thing where it's like, yeah, I can go through the booklet because nobody's going to post the topography from South Point. Or nobody's going to post the extras. Yeah, sure, they'll post the patterns. No big deal.
It's all on the website now.
Sure, it's now, but I mean, it's not updated.
Not the
I don't
pattern,
believe
though.
so.
Not the lane pattern.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I'm saying
the topography
okay.
reports from who knows when,
I
2016
think
or
we
something.
looked at it. It's a little older.
It's not that.
But what we looked
nearby.
at and what we bowled on, it was pretty close
But-
out there. But I'm just saying, that's the thing. Why isn't there more information used and guided there? If they're going to give out more information, use it through the email portal.
Yeah.
Especially for U.S. Open and for the Masters, because once you give them all that stuff, give them like a month. Give them like a month
I'm
before,
with you.
and once they get that email, and let them do that. Personally, don't give the shots out.
You want the shots to be hidden.
I'm okay with
I
that.
do.
See, I used to feel the same exact way, but I've changed my tune a little bit now that we have to travel.
More often, I understand, and I understand where you're coming from. We brought 30 bowling balls each to the Masters last year.
I brought 15. or 18.
Okay, I
something
brought
like that.
Okay, so maybe we brought 30 or 40 together.
Yes.
I don't really, that doesn't bother me because when I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna drive. I'm not gonna. The other thing that was
you're not
gonna
driving.
fly to Vegas.
Well, we are for the Open Championships. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the Open Championships to me, they keep it usually relatively close enough. Purple Hammer.
100% of the time.
I mean, it's.
But here's what I'm
I
thinking.
look
Here's
at
what
it.
I'm thinking. So what if they find that releasing the patterns early, which they've been hiding them on the U.S. Open for probably just as long as the OCs.
I think it was 2013. Somebody told us.
Right.
It's been roughly around that.
But what if they find the scoring pace is exactly the same as when we didn't release it last year?
Well, we both know that bowling out there in the environment that it creates itself, plus the lane surface, the oil.
I think that's the biggest
It
thing.
doesn't make it different. It's always going to be different.
The environment absolutely is one factor, but I think the biggest factor that I've been learning a lot as far as since we've been traveling a lot more is the lane surface for sure.
Yeah, that's the number one important thing.
You can practice all you want at home. If your topography is way different or if your lane surface is way older or newer, vice versa, it's
Also,
going to completely
lineage.
change.
Doesn't even matter the age, it's more lineage.
Right.
Is it a high lineage center?
More
is it a low
used,
lineage?
right.
How old is it? And what's the lineage like?
Right.
What's the games about like? Should all bowling centers have a topography report available for the bowlers? Do you want to go first? I have a.
So, I think it should be. Just like you get a green, not a green. What are they? Whatever on the
green report.
Like when you go golfing, you have the layout of the course, right?
Sure.
It's a little different, obviously. You got to know where.
Yeah, it's all on the phone now. Kyle.
I know. I'm just saying, you got to know where your ball's going, but still, I think it does make sense.
I still don't know.
Here's my biggest thought on that. Is you've got an invisible lane surface. That's fine. When we bowl on wood, if you went from a house to a house to a house, generally speaking, it seemed like the lanes were kind of the same-ish. Not saying the lanes were exactly the same, but like you didn't have to distrust what you were bowling on, if that's a good way to put it. Whereas now with plastic or synthetic, it can change, and wood lanes did move with the weather, but these things can change so fast and a lot, and can affect ball motion a lot, and it all depends on how they were installed. When you sand a wood lane, it, if you're good, will be flat. And then there's
less movement.
What's that?
There's less movement in wood.
Exactly. So all of those factor in. So yes, I agree. I think, to answer your question, I believe it would be nice if they all had a topography report. And with the way that the USBC is supposed to be doing these new certifications, they should be able to provide you a map because it gives you the readouts with their machine.
That's what I was getting at. If we're going to force bowling centers to do it, it needs to be USBC's priority to actually do it.
Yeah, and they're doing it now.
You shouldn't force the proprietors to have to fund that.
No, they fund it anyways with the payment of the
certification.
Yes,
and we had a couple of bowling centers around us get their testing done already.
Mm-hmm. I think it's pointless.
They skipped over here.
I think it's pointless.
Pointless to have a readout or have the. What are you talking about?
Your home center. I think it's kind of just whatever. Yeah, I mean the home.
Yeah, but if you go away from your home center, it would be nice to have that information.
Yeah, I mean it'd be nice to have the information. I will say that as we've traveled more, I've started to pay a little bit less to topography or thought process of that, and I'm actually just more thinking about the amount of lineage at the center. I'm not even really thinking about the topography anymore.
Yeah.
Because first of all, topography gets in your head, then you say, "Oh, this lane sucks." There are no bad lanes. You're just not adjusting properly. Of course, I said, "Well, if a guy catches a bad pair, you're gonna beat me on that." But regardless,
on
if you
house shot, that doesn't matter.
If you
agree.
Yeah, if you have a crowned lane, I can understand why you're not striking.
Yeah. But
on the house shots and the way that all the centers are built now, I don't even like built, but with the synthetic lanes, there always is quite a big dish in the lane. So I don't particularly. You got something to say? Oh, you're elbowing me like you got something to say. Oh, okay.
You talking to me?
So I think the topography report at your home center isn't as important, especially because the only time topography truly shows is when you get lower ratios on the lanes in terms of oil pattern. Once you go into these house shots where it's a higher ratio or something like that. I think there's always dry to the right and there's always a little bit of hold in the middle. So you just got to find out how to play them. So for the average Joe in the average house, I don't think it's particularly as important as some would like to make it.
Yeah, well, and I also think if you're bowling on a house shot, it's completely irrelevant anyway.
Yeah.
Like you probably just said it, but the pattern gives you all the forgiveness that you need.
The tapers in the pattern already.
My mind always just thinks kind of tournament bowling, hard stuff. It would be nice to walk into a center and have that information.
Right, and I think it'd be important when you go to the bigger tournaments or those type of tournaments. Like when we go to your place, Michael, your synthetics are a little older. So a lot of times what we see is the lanes hook earlier.
And are they the SPLs and yours are the HPLs or vice versa?
We have SPLs, they have HPLs.
Okay, so they're the hooking ones anyway.
Well, the SPLs are still a higher friction one, but ours are just newer. And with all the bowling that Boulevard has had over the past X amount of years, of course, that's what the panels end up being like around the center. So we're used to seeing that front hook when we go to other places. Here, it's not so much, but I just feel like because it's already built in friction from all the scratches and all the lineage and all the bowling that just happens on these lanes, it's not nearly as important for topography. If you got a 50,000 dish and your lane's 20 years old and you've got a high lineage center,
they gonna hook.
It's gonna hook anyways. It doesn't matter if there's 50 or 30 or 20.
Yeah.
There's gonna be built-in friction, so it almost becomes irrelevant. The only time that topography for me is really important is those bigger tournaments where the lanes are flatter. In this case, 49 feet 1-to-1, 43 feet 1-to-1, or 39 feet 1-to-1. You'll see a lot of specialty hammer balls or whatever they are coming out. Specialty.
Not at the U.S. Open. Balls. They're gonna be using purple all day. Purple and pitch black.
Oh, the U.S. Open is we'll see a lot of those.
BPAA.
Purple.
So anyway, back to the original point. I think, me personally, especially for the average Joes and the travelers that need to pick what balls they're gonna bring, it's nice to know what the oil pattern would be if they did that for the OC. And I think if the USBC should pay attention, not that they're not going to be paying attention, but they should look at the scoring pace and see if it's changed at all.
Maybe that's what they're doing with this.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that's what they're doing. But if they realize that it hasn't changed at all, then there's no reason to keep hiding the pattern for every other tournament.
I do have a thought
on
this topic.
Hit us.
So I think a lot of your bowlers that are kind of a step down from where we are, when you create that big of a tournament and you share patterns, they're not coming regardless of scoring pace, because those pros are working on that. They're practicing. Guys like us, we're practicing. The average Joes that don't have, maybe they can't practice on it. Maybe they're going to say, it's not worth it. I don't stand a chance. So
I can understand that.
I think sharing a pattern for that big of a tournament, you're going to steer away the entry level guys that you want to come.
But I'll argue that they already know it's difficult. Like,
but
if they've been there before, they know it's hard.
I don't think they care about that, though. I think they care about knowing whether the other competition is going to have
a step up.
Not just a step up, a huge step up.
Yeah.
A good bowler knowing what's out there, that is a huge step up.
But I would also say, like we were just talking about, I don't know how much practicing on it would be even relevant because of the difference in lane surface and topography, et cetera, at whatever bowling alley that you're bowling at with putting the oil pattern down. And the oil, which they will probably tell you, we're using fire forward or ice, whatever, but they might not even ever use that lane oil. So it might not even be relevant. Again, so all of those things I think just factor into not mattering when they release it. To me, it's all about ball choice. So like if I see again, for example, that doubles and singles pattern that we had this year where 24 mils and it was 30, whatever, 9 or 8 or 7 feet. I forget.
It was 30, 39, but you could at least try to
preemptively guess. I don't know.
You can, it'd be nice. I don't even care if I see the pattern. Maybe the length and the
sure, I'll take anything at this point.
Length and volume and ratio would be fine,
right?
Because then you can kind of get close to it and you can understand what you're bowling on. The better bowlers are still gonna find out how to. The better bowlers are gonna be better anyways. But if you give everybody an idea, we can at least try to help our people. But the other side of the argument is, even though I'm not really for the patterns being released, if you do release them, I can help my group more often than I can without it.
Sure.
Go ahead.
The only reason I do not like the patterns to be released is if you go like to the U.S. Open and the OCs, I feel like you should be ready for the pattern that you're about to be bowling on.
Ready for anything? Okay.
Exactly.
Junior Gold, they don't release the pattern until you bowl, right?
You
So
don't-
it
you
was
don't-
exactly like U.S. Open
You don't know the pattern.
previously.
I still from Junior Gold. I do not know the pattern.
Well, I looked at them already.
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
they released it.
Yeah,
they
released
You may
it.
not have checked.
I didn't check.
We checked for
it.
you.
Thank you for checking for me. But yeah, I
Don't worry about
Didn't
it.
we bowl on that?
No,
I'm not sure.
this
I don't
year.
think so.
I just think it's an interesting thing. How about why is it getting released? Because he's leaving to go to a ball manufacturer company?
Yeah, they didn't want to.
So he
they
have-
didn't want it to look like he had any influence on any of those bowlers bowling well.
Let's be honest. How do you even know that those patterns are really kept a secret?
I don't know. I mean,
You're just going on Scout's honor at that point.
he could be. I mean,
I'm
any.
not
Of,
even talking about Rob. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about for everything. Like the OCs for US Open. How do you know that these high-end guys they don't have friends who know what it is? Are you
really
kidding me?
speculating?
I'm just saying.
You have a
Dude,
conspiracy theorist hat
You-
somewhere?
You've
Tinfoil hat?
You've been listening to someone named Alex?
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
No idea. No, I just think it could be definitely a possibility.
Sure.
just
Any
saying.
anybody can leak any information.
Of course it is. How do you know that you're telling me that one guy who makes the pattern doesn't talk to anybody?
I'm sure that he does. I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying.
he's no I don't know, top secret agent
So you're
that is
telling me,
able to
like,
keep a secret.
He's like talking to his bed like, "Hey, yeah, I've had a few drinks. Oh yeah, I made it. It's 38 feet, 25 mils. I don't know. Just bring a ball, don't hook. I don't know.
I think for the U.S. Open this year, they should have changed the pattern
Yeah,
and
would
not
think you
kept
should
the
change
same
it.
because
Yeah, I wonder why they
for some people,
kept
like
it the same.
for people who bowled on it last year, it's an advantage for them. For people who are bowling it this year, and didn't
Cream
bowl
always
last year.
rises to the top, right? Kyle?
I agree. It does.
They should have changed it. They should change it every year.
Oh, I like that. I like Michael's point. I
The-
mean, it is what it is.
The thing with the US Open patterns,
Bowler's bowl.
even though they're
There you go.
slightly different, they're always similar. They always use the flat pattern.
It's okay.
Always.
Listen, I'm okay with using similar stuff, but just kind of put a little bit of shape in there. Just make it a little bit. It just looks goofy.
Let me bring up one other point, not about the oil patterns. So
Bring up something else. Let's freaking get it going.
there's a bunch of ways to qualify, right? For the US Open to
You
be
said ways to qualify, right?
yes.
I thought you said it was a waste to qualify.
No, there are a bunch of
Whoa.
different ways to qualify for a direct entry without having a PTQ. Okay.
Hit
So
me.
you've got like US Open winners the last 10 years, Masters winner 3 years, World Championship winner last 3 years, Tournament of Champions last 3 years, Players Championship last 3 years, et cetera, right? The OCs the last 3 years, you can for the
You
regular
know.
all events that gets you in.
Really?
Yep.
Just all events?
Regular all events.
Just all events.
Right, not a single event.
Yeah.
All events.
That's what I said, all events.
Then there's a few PBA 50s and junior golds. U20 get in. Then I find, well, would you look at this? There's
Jimmy Allen's in?
no, it was Pete Weber this year.
They let Pete Weber in?
Yep,
Finally.
he had to apply. He must have applied. Then in the top 75 on the PBA points list. And then all the way down to the bottom, top one from each of the 2024 U.S. Open regional qualifiers. Take a guess how many regional qualifiers there were.
4.
Split the difference. It was 2.
I was gonna say two.
2 in the entire country. 1 in Iowa and 1 in Illinois.
Yeah, they don't really. That's how my dad made the U.S. Open was a qualifier
Right.
up at Pine Lanes.
But that's how you
What I
make this.
remember.
So you mentioned earlier that the U.S. Open's not really open. They should flip flop the Masters because the Masters is wide open.
Well, see, yeah, the golf does the Open where they have like a certain day it's got to be or a certain week, and they have these huge. It's like Masters Week or something where not like legit Masters Week, but like all the country clubs have like a spot,
Right.
and everybody plays for, even including the pro at the place. I think in bowls in it.
Right. So that's my point is there should be at least 8 or 10 regional qualifiers.
I think 8 or 10's a little low.
I was thinking like.
I did say at least.
I will.
But-
I just want to throw in there. They're saying regional.
What region?
They're in one region for both of those regionals.
Iowa and Illinois. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how you apply to be a regional qualifier. I don't know how many are able to fit in, but they're definitely this is how you should make it an open tournament, the US Open. There should be however many regions to make the field, the winners of those tournaments to make the
Shouldn't
field.
even really be the winners. I think they should take a lot of that other FUBAR out.
Yeah, you're saying all of the other champions, 75 points less, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
all the other
blah,
crap.
blah.
I mean, obviously, if you're a 75 point list getter, you should have no problem making a regional qualifier.
Then you would have, if you took all of those spots out, which is like,
Yeah, you're
I
doing
don't
a
know,
bunch.
40 or 50 spots.
You're doing a bunch,
Wow.
which
Or-
makes it more
because
open.
The reason why it's not 75 is because a bunch of these guys already
Sure.
got in through their championships.
Give the top 25. I mean, the top 75 on the tour, they only have 16 event. How does that make sense?
But they only have what? Oh, 16 event regionals. Regional points count towards your PBA points list.
Oh, I was 88th.
188th.
Oh.
Same difference, Kyle. Come on.
So I had no idea. Somebody texted me that today. I think
Yeah.
it was Nick. He was like, "Hey, you're
Yeah.
188th," and I was like,
178
"Good,
or
I bowled
188,
2
yeah.
events,
Yeah. So
3 events. I bowled
yeah,
3
you could bowl a
events.
bunch of events and you can get into the US Open.
Regional
Anyway.
ones. Did my master count?
Point
Does my
being-
masters count?
Yeah.
Towards PBA points, I can't remember.
I think it does.
It should.
Point being,
Point.
there should be regionals that make the field, right?
Why aren't they ran by the PBA? Why aren't they partnering together? Is my question.
I don't know.
Because if the PBA already has a base and they already create a schedule,
And a region, all
And
of
a
the
region
regions are
already.
there.
why not just be like, listen, you guys are going to run one extra tournament a year. It's going to be on, make it all the same pattern. Like, don't change it. Make every
Yep.
place the same pattern. Be like, listen, we're going to choose places that have similar lineage or similar lane surface. I mean, that can't
Yeah.
be that hard to find within 5 years or something. Because I'm sure they know, because they have to know for the PBA anyways. Pick a few centers and do RPI or RPI regional.
Oh, same
qualifier.
type of thing. Yeah. RPI
Just do something like
qualifier,
that.
regional
Don't even do the
qualifier.
top 4, but do like, make it like a bigger event. That's what should really happen.
Although, I mean, even though you can be a non-member and bowl in the PBA regionals, again, my idea is open. Everything should be wide open. Anybody should be able to enter those regional
You should
qualifiers.
be able to enter that event. Yeah, it
Yep.
should be run by the PBA or run
or by the
USBC
USBC if
should
it's a
have their
local
own.
association or whatever.
Sure. I mean, they already have the software for it and the
Yep.
USBC numbers, so it's
Yep.
not like it's going out of the way or anything.
Yeah.
There should be more regional qualifiers. They should at least have 25 to 30.
100% agree.
I mean, there's no other way.
Especially if they're only going to take the top one.
Right. Yeah. In this format, they're saying only the winner can make it in.
Yeah.
But
mean,
maybe if there's a bunch of
That's what
spots
I'm
that are
saying.
left open, you can
You
have
get 100 guys, you're gonna take
Yeah.
one guy.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well. That's 1 in 100.
How does golf and tennis and whatever work for the U.S. Open?
I'm not completely sure, Kyle. You didn't.
Well, I
tell
know
me to get
golf. I
prepared.
know golf has regions, or not regions,
It's
not
like-
just
it's like
regions,
country
but
clubs.
there are regional
It's-
qualifiers or
yeah.
country club qualifiers, whatever it
I
is.
think for golf, you have to qualify for the U.S. Open.
Yes.
I think you have to come in like a certain amount.
It's like the top 2 for each
Yeah.
personal country club or whatever
Gotcha.
it is,
And then
Gotcha.
that'll
or
get
top
you.
5 or
I don't
something
think,
like that.
I don't think that'll even get you into the U.S. Open. I think then you have to go
Then you have to go to another event,
another
maybe.
thing, and
Do
then I
another
think that'll
qualifier.
qualify for the
It's
US
a
Open.
possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a little bit of a broken system because
I agree.
it's kind of like the good old boys club.
Yeah.
Let the same people in every year. You can't, like we've always talked about, you can't get the other people to break into it. And without the younger crowd breaking into the PBA, you will no longer create interest because people are sick of seeing the same people there. Now, granted, those people will still win, I'm sure. Simo, Belmo, EJ, those
Sure.
guys are fantastic. But everybody likes to see a guy like Michael Scaccia make it when he gets in there.
Heck yeah.
People will watch.
Kid
and be like,
cranks
"Hey,
lane,
man,
man.
I know. Everybody's gonna be like, listen, tell Nick he can sub for him tonight. He's got to stop. I just think it's a little bit of a broken system. So I think the patterns, whatever the patterns are the patterns, but the U.S. Open, the format, I think we might talk about this every year, but it just seems as if, there's no, it's all, we talk about inclusion in today's society. I think the PBA is not up to the standards.
Yeah.
No,
That it
they
needs
need
to
to
be.
raise their standards.
Yeah.
They
They,
raise their standards. I don't believe it's that.
they need to get more bowlers in,
Need to be more
and the
hands.
U.S. Open needs to be open.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
Sorry.
it flip the Masters around then. Whatever. I don't give a crap what they do.
Yeah.
Make one of them one or the other. Also, I
know people will argue with me. Well, it is open. You just have to pull the PTQ. It's like
it's not open.
well, that's not how that works.
Yeah,
It
the
should
Masters is open.
right.
Boom.
Everybody can just be in.
Your green is green, and
Right.
you get in there.
I think
Right.
for the U.S. Open, you should just be able to sign up. Honestly,
Yeah, right on the
just
internet.
sign up and you're.
I
in,
think you
right?
should have to qualify to make the main or to make the event, but you shouldn't. It
Yeah,
shouldn't just be wide open because then you.
That's
It should be regional qualifiers to get in. Everybody had a chance.
because it's way
Yeah.
too easy to get
Wait.
into a huge tournament, one of the biggest in the world.
Well, the Masters is easy. You can sign up for the Masters and you're in.
Yeah, it's what
The U.S. Open,
I qualified for
you
that.
have
I
to
qualified.
qualify. All right.
What else we got down?
So one last thing, we're going to talk a little bit about shop talk here. We got some shop talk, tech
You know,
talk,
Kyle,
shop
I
talk.
just
back open.
I just don't know. I don't know about this. You know, I'm a little bit bothered. I'm a little bit hot and bothered right now. You know,
Well, let's get you unbothered because Tom Scambolone wants to talk about.
Tom Scambolone.
Forget where did he go? Florida,
He went to North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. He's in North Carolina, Virginia. I believe it's North Carolina. I saw him a few weeks ago. He's throwing some motive stuff, I believe. If I
Whoa.
remember correctly. If I remember
That could
correctly.
explain if he is throwing motor. He didn't tell me what ball it was. That could explain maybe why it's a little rollier than he was hoping. Anyway, so we'll talk drilling. We did talk about this in the past, quite a long time ago. I believe we called it the power of the N or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because of dual angle layouts, they make the N on the ball. So we can talk about dual angle. We can talk about buffer system. But basically talking
They're the same
about,
thing.
it's a different way of measuring to get the same exact result. And we talk about different layouts and stuff. In particular, Tom wanted something to be angular. And it sounded like it didn't really work out, even though his numbers were very close to what I just drilled on the exotic gem, which were like 75 by 35. His were maybe 70 by 30 or whatever. And then I think he said 4.5 inch pin or something like that. But anyway, what can he do if I remember, he's maybe a little lower rev rate.
I haven't seen him bowl in a while.
Long time. But
So
he said he's going to make a trip up and get schooled.
welcome.
But that's what I did mention to him when he was talking to me about it. He's like, I tried this angle, it's not working out. I said, well, it completely matters how you throw it too. Like, what is your tilt? What is your rev rate?
I mean, to be honest with you, Ka, if he's using the same layout as you,
It was similar, but yeah.
if he's using a
Okay.
similar layout, if Tom's just a little bit weaker on the rev rate, or ball speed, he's not going to create as much downlane motion just
Right.
because the ball's going to
Naturally.
right. It's just going to be a little earlier, anyways, because of that. So, you're probably going to have to. You're either going to have to use a longer drill angle. I don't know the surface of the lanes or what they're
No
using.
idea.
So, if it's a little more rolly, if you're still using motive, from what we understand, motive is a little bit more of a tamer cover stock. From what we've learned from our friends on the tour and other people we talk to, and kind of what we see, motive seems to be a little tamer. The Storm and the Brunswick stuff with the new cover on it, HK22, are a little more responsive to the friction. They're a little cleaner and a little bit more angular. It also depends on what type of ball you're using too. If you're using a big like Jackal Flash, or if you're using like a exotic gem or virtual energy blackout, the Vibo, those will be pretty good for you. But if you get balls that are gonna respond pretty quick and you're using something like that, it might just pick up the lane too early with the ball speed and rev rate. But typically for an angular layout, you're gonna want to have your drill angle. We talk about ratios too in here. We started to talk a little bit more about those. Typically, your drill angle will be 2, and your VAL angle or pin buffer will be a 1. That gives you a little bit more length, and the lower the 1, obviously the 2. So like 50 would be the drill angle. We would have a 25 VAL. That'll keep it 2-1. Typically, we find those be a little more angular. Typically, the closer you get to the 1-1, the more matched those two angles are, the smoother they roll.
Right.
Also, the other thing too is with a 4.5-inch pin, you might see a little bit more forward roll just because of where the pin placement is. If you're looking for a little bit more side roll, to be honest with you, you probably could use something with a longer drill angle, shorter pin to PAP, because that'll make it kind of be a little bit more unstable, a little bit more side roll if it's asymmetrical.
Yeah.
If it's asymmetrical, that's important to remember. And then you can kind of use that same drill angle or the same VAL angle. So drill angle could increase, pin to PAP could shorten, and then the VAL angle could stay roughly what it is now. And that could also help create a little more side roll angularity there.
I didn't ask him what ball he had, but he did say it was 74-30.
74?
70
70.
by 4.
70 by 4.
Yes, 4 inches.
Well, 4 changes from 4.5.
Yeah, I know.
That's a
That's
lot.
why I was
that's
giving
a
you
lot
the
more
updated
side roll. I
information.
mean, that's pretty good then. That's not bad at all. I just wonder if the ball was the right choice, because if it's
Right.
motive,
I didn't ask him what kind of ball it was,
It's okay.
so maybe it was a really strong ball that was slow rolling.
if it's sanded, Tom, you're probably going to want to go to the shiny cover stocks, the pearl cover stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Even the hybrids are okay too, as long as they come polished. Stay closer to those polished ones. And it also depends on the intermediate differential too, because once you have too high of an intermediate differential, which is on your bowling ball specs, it is the third number. If it gets too high, the ball will try to have too small of a hook zone, which means it'll use its energy much faster, and it will get up and go more forward down lane. Typically, longer pins can help that too, but you've got a long drill angle in there, so retaining energy and going forward, unless you use a super low VAL. There's a lot of things you could do there.
Yeah.
But if you come up, we can take a look at it. And
Next
he's
trip
up
to
every once in a
Albany.
while. He's up every once in a while. I mean, so I did see him a few weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, he was here. I think around Thanksgiving time. He stopped
Get out
in.
of town.
Yeah, he
Haven't seen
stopped
Tommy
in.
in a long, long time.
Yeah. So I think he has been using motive. We talked about it for a little bit. I think I might have gave him a layout to try. Hopefully, that wasn't it.
Hopefully that was from the pro shop guy down there.
I mean, the layout's not bad. I just think that it depends on the ball too. We got to see what kind of ball it is to really.
He made it sound like that it was a layout that he just uses.
It's like his benchmark layout.
Right. So, and then he said that he thought it was that the lower drill angle and a high, like he got a little confused about which is lengthier and which is rollier.
Yeah, for me, I actually use 50 by 25 for my angular quick response layouts.
Seems lower than I would have expected.
Yeah, 50 by 25.
75 overall angle is
it's very strong, but you have to remember that I'm also looking at wow, they're excited out there.
Yeah, they're yelling.
It is Christmas time, so the extra money, take it home and buy your wife a stocking gift. The new. Wow. Okay.
It's getting crazy out there. It's
the-
Christmas time.
the
They got the
violet-
free drink
That
flowing.
is right. It's free drink night. The violent collision and the brutal collision are the two that I use for that.
They're nice balls.
They are great balls. And those are the ones that I put on those ones. My symmetricals are 5 by 30. That's kind of just my base layout because they're a little smoother. But I'm also looking at the ball mechanics too. I'm not sure what he has. I mean, I'm
Right.
sure it could be great. I just don't know, so we can't really tweak or say, hey, maybe that would have been better next time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we say. It is a good layout. It's 70 by 4 by 30 is excellent. So maybe it might just been the ball mechanics.
Could be.
Did I answer the question? Okay, Kyle.
I think it was exactly right. We just wanted to give a heads up to people that lower drill angle, ball roll sooner.
Yeah, 20, anywhere closer to 20. 20 is the lowest
Yeah.
you can go. Closer to 20, it'll roll closer to your toes. Anything up to 90, 90 is as far as you can go. 55 is the middle of the lane. So anything past 55 is probably a little further down lane. And then when you get to the back angle, the lower the angle, the other thing I will say is the quicker it responds to friction, also the less energy it will retain, the faster it's going to want to use it all. So
Right.
that's another reason why sometimes it can get a little forward, especially with a 30-degree VAL.
Right.
Because 4 and 30 are pretty low. So they're not contradicting each other. The ball's trying to be super explosive and side roll, but the ball wants to rev up and go right off
Right.
the friction. So it could kind of burn itself out depending on the ball too. So I use, what is mine? 50 by 4 3/4 by 25. That gets the ball to retain a little bit more, and it doesn't want to go sideways, so it does kind of give me a nicer shape. Usually when I use lower VALs, back angles, the last angle, we use a higher pin distance. That's what we've been doing here lately. Things have changed a while, but we have been using them on quite a lot of bowling balls. Stephanie, my sister, got one. I think she was like 50 by 20.
Wow.
Yeah, 50 by 4.5 by 20, I think it was.
She shot 730 with it.
Yeah.
Boom.
But her rev rate's a little lower. She likes to play the friction. We drilled her a theorem. And that ball really skids down the lane naturally. So ball mechanics, we got to try to get that ball to rev. And because she's a little more speed dominant, she needs like 50 is okay for her because she's not going to burn the ball out. You know what I mean? So we also look at the player in that sense too. We've actually been doing quite a bit of learning in here. We've had a few guys trying to learn how to drill.
Yeah.
And we're able to talk back and forth.
And
Kyle's
layouts
actually,
and whatever.
yeah, behind you is where Austin's camera is. You can see what we've been talking about. Austin's and take a look. Right behind you is what me and Kyle were working on yesterday. That is the learning board. It's easier sometimes to write them down over there and just chat about it, especially for guys who are looking for specific layouts. So Kyle's PAP is 5 1/8 over by a half up.
Just
His tilt is 19 degrees, and his ball speed and rev rate percentage is matched. So we drilled him a GB4. Those are the numbers on the GB4, and the EG is exotic gem. And we were able to write them out a little bit, draw some pictures of the hook zones, and then on the right, where Austin's face is cutting half of it off, that's kind of how I look at the layout system. Anything from 30 under is more of an angular or a quicker response. Yep, 31 to 45 is going to be a little smoother, and then the 46 plus is going to be drop that pin into the ring finger or the fingers in general or below it. That's going to give you more of that really smooth retaining energy, not going to go sideways off it. So that's kind of what we look at here. Did I give too much information?
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay. But that's what we've been doing here. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to the podcast, downloadpod@gmail.com. Send us a video, and we can always recommend something.
Ooh, you're getting fancy now, huh?
If we need to do that. Well, I mean, if we've got it, we might as well. If we have some guys who maybe want just to chat or to maybe engage, and we can bring it up in the show the next time as we talk. We get a video from them. We can kind of talk about what they want in the next show. Kind of give them like a little personal spotlight.
Wow.
Is that a little too much for us?
I love it. Oh, I love it.
Okay.
You've got to actually do some work then if they send in these videos.
If they send in videos, we'll get it done.
We says.
Austin and Kyle get it done.
All right, before we go.
10 minutes before the show. Hey, what do you recommend for this guy? Quick.
Before we go, Mikey, what do you got coming up this week, bowling-wise?
Nothing. I don't pull my junior.
It's Christmas,
league,
man.
You don't have junior leagues on Saturday?
It's Christmas.
Christmas is Monday, dude.
It's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve. Right now, it's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve on Saturday.
No bowling this weekend. What about next weekend?
No.
That's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Eve.
I don't bowl. I don't bowl for 2 weeks.
Wow.
New Year's Eve.
I mean, I've been practicing. I practiced.
Speaking of New Year's, did you guys sign up?
Oh, New Year's Day?
Oh, I owe Kyle
Please.
so much money right now for sign-ups. It's ridiculous.
Shouldn't even have paid for my balls last night.
Ooh.
No, you shouldn't have. I didn't even think about that. But that's pro shop. I like to keep it separate, Kyle. Don't worry. I have Stephanie has a running tab for me.
Nice.
So when it gets to close to $3,000, I'll pay it.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We're almost there.
That's a high deadline.
Yeah, I didn't know I was a
God,
creditor.
What percentage you taking a month?
Ooh, good thought. Good thought.
Ooh.
I'll take your children babysitting day.
No. I
Yeah,
want the
couple
cash.
days.
The
Okay,
cash
all
roller.
right. Hey, I gave it out
See the
there.
cash up
Interest.
front.
What
Yeah.
are interest rates right now? 17.5.
Yeah, there's a difference between the government interest rates and a loan
Ridiculous.
shark interest rate.
What's your
Loan sharks are 20, 30.
I think we stay on the bowling part. Let's not go to finances.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Mikey, thanks for coming in.
Oh, no problem.
Boom. We got to go
pleasure.
bowling. So don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. If you can't watch on YouTube or Facebook or X, you can always download and listen on your favorite podcast service. And while you're doing that, please give us a 5-star review. And you can also share with your friends, please, because it helps us get the word out and the podcast out there. You can email us at downlanepod@gmail.com, just like Anthony said a moment ago. And you can send us videos or questions or whatever, and we will help you guys out.
Maybe even coaching. I don't know.
Why not?
Send them in.
Bring it.
We got nothing else to do.
Don't throw weed.
Dude, Kyle's freaking busy season ending.
Listen,
This is a perfect
Austin
time.
has
I'm busy.
serious tonight we bowl episodes to edit every week.
I got my videographer tonight. I brought
Which,
some
by the
in.
way, last week was an awesome episode. We got the dual angle cameras going on, so you get to see behind the scenes as well as bowling, which I think adds a huge element to the show. So we got a lot of recording to do tonight.
Yeah, I
Where am I bowling?
tried to edit just a tad more last week.
Yeah. Well, we're 1 through 6 tonight. I'm on 1 and 2. Austin's on
we're
3
right
and
next
4,
to
and
each
you're on
other.
5 and 6.
Oh, that's
It's a position
wow.
round, baby.
Christmas miracle.
So
It's great.
thank you to Jack Scaccia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes. Thanks, Mikey, for coming in.
Mikey's the man.
Awesome.
Always a pleasure.
Good ball, good shot show.
Hopefully
What?
Good bowling tonight.
Good bowl good tonight and good show. Anthony,
Are we playing each other?
no, we're on 3 separate pairs.
Wow.
Well, I hope you guys have a great evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
And Kwanzaa.
Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan.
Jam bread. Winnie the Pig. Make
Merry
sure you
Christmas.
follow
We
Winnie
will
the
see you
Pig.
guys next week. This is Down Lane Podcast.